Okay, Miss Alderton, you're going to keep letting people in, aren't you, as they join?
No problem. We're up to 76 people.
Yeah, so we'll make a start. So I guess first of all, just to say hello and welcome you all back to the school year. It's been so lovely having all the children back in school, and there's a really nice buzz around year 7 at the moment, which is fantastic to see. So our first sort of main event of the calendar is for year 7s is our trip next week to Essex Outdoors. So it's essentially an outdoor company, and the idea behind the trip is some team building, work on building positive relationships really early on, integrate all the new children into Belmont whilst completing some fun activities, and have a really positive start to the year with lots of activities. Miss Alderton has very kindly offered to join the Zoom with us, as she went on the trip last year as head of year 7. So she's going to run through some of the bits, and she's got a little bit more information on it than me because she's actually seen it. So she's going to click through the slides for me. So yeah, this is just a map of where it is, but it's in Essex, so it's about an hour away, hour and 15 minutes coach drive. It's obviously fully insured. All the activities are run by Essex Outdoors qualified instructors. Every group will have a member of the Belmont team with them as well, but we won't be running the activities. We'll be facilitating the parts outside of the activities around the building relationships, encouraging positivity, that kind of thing. So some of the activities that they will cover involve high ropes, so zip line, maybe mountain biking, aerial trekking, archery, caving, climbing, high ropes, but they won't all necessarily do the same activities, but they will all get a full activity program. So yeah, really good challenging activities for them to have a go at, work as a team. We obviously brief Essex Outdoors on what we'd like to gain from the trip, and their instructors work with the children on those aims and objectives as well. So I'm going to pass over to Miss Alderton to just talk through some of the things regarding accommodation, site, and things like that.
Hi everybody. Yeah, so like Miss Hockley said, they'll obviously all be staying in accommodation in the same location. As you can see, it's kind of divided into 2 sections. It's a really lovely site, and the children are going to have such a great time. It's a really good opportunity for them, and they're lucky to do it quite so early. So as you can see, they're kind of divided into 2 sections: cabins and pods. There's also tents, but we're not staying in those. We've split the boys and the girls into the separate areas. So either the boys or the girls, I can't remember, will be staying in the cabins, and most of the girls will be staying in the pods. There are separate shower facilities, separate shower blocks available, again separated for boys and girls. The log cabins are slightly larger, so they sleep about 10 people. And there is a separate room, but within the same building, so kind of next door, for teachers to sleep. And there's a bathroom there that teachers can use, or children could use in an emergency. The pods are slightly smaller. They sleep up to 8 people, and there are teachers situated nearby. So we try to spread the teachers out around so that they can help the children if they need. And we always make the children aware of where their rooms are, because if in the night they were to need anything, they can obviously go and find a teacher. Just a reminder that no bedding is provided, so you will need to, the best thing to send your child with is a sleeping bag. However, if you don't have a sleeping bag, there's no point going to buy one for one night, so they can have a single duvet and a bottom sheet will do. They will also need a pillow, or I would recommend that they have a pillow. The shower, like I mentioned, there are shower and toilet blocks open 24 hours a day. It is a short walk away, the shower blocks, from both the cabins and the pods, so they'll need sensible shoes. I would recommend trainers rather than sliders or flip-flops because it could obviously get damp underfoot. So I'd recommend some sensible shoes. I know we're only going for one night, but I would recommend 2 pairs of trainers just in case the forecast isn't looking that great. So I would recommend a second pair of trainers just so that they've got something that they can be dry in. And so these are the pictures. Oh, sorry, on this side, these are the cabins, slightly bigger, and these are the pods. So it's really well set up. They're designed for schools, and it's a really well run kind of site. They will have all their meals at Essex Outdoors. We will be taking a packed lunch with us from Belmont for the first day, and then they will have their evening meal and breakfast and lunch, I believe, all at Essex Outdoors while we're there. As you can see, there's an example of what the menu might be. They will cater to all dietary requirements. So I know you've all completed all the Evolve consent forms, so we will just take that, and they cater very well to those needs. I think Ms. Hockley will talk to us a bit more about sweets in a moment. But we do definitely make sure that there are no nuts at all on the trip. In terms of COVID, we will just make sure that children, obviously, we promote good hand hygiene and that kind of thing. And the Danbury Outdoors, Essex Outdoors, also promote the same. All the staff are fully trained. All the staff there are first aid trained, which is awesome. You don't always get that at sites like this. They've all got DBS checks and safeguarding checks, and there's always a member of their staff on site 24 hours a day. Although, of course, we would encourage Belmont children to come and approach the Belmont staff. We are around to help them. And like Ms. Hockley said, there's a member of Belmont staff in every group, just to kind of be that familiar face. And of course, the site is secure, and we are the only school that are staying there, so that's really good. Please make sure, so we've sent out a kit list in the initial letter. It's got a checklist. What I would suggest is that you ask your child to pack their bag with maybe a watchful eye by yourselves, but I think it's really great that in year 7 now, great opportunity to build some independence. And it's also, we find it's quite helpful on trips. If they pack their own bag, they know what they're looking for. So children, if you're listening, you pack your own bags so you know what's in it. Bring with you, so obviously use the kit list, but just a reminder, bring plenty of underwear, old clothing, so don't bring any brand new football shirts or anything. Like I said, the forecast is some rain forecast, so, and we will still be going outside. So please, if you've got waterproofs, bring them. If you've got wellies, I would bring them. Tracksuit bottoms rather than jeans. They will need long trousers as well, so no shorts, because they'll be wearing a harness, so they'll need long trousers. Old trainers, sensible pajamas, because if they need the toilet in the night, they will have to walk about 20 meters to go to the toilet, so sensible pajamas. A coat, a waterproof coat, sun hat and sunblock, although it's looking more likely a coat is more of a priority than that. A towel and wash kits and medication. So if your child requires any medication, any kind of routine medication, it's really important that we've got a clear label on the medication. It's the most helpful if you kind of write a little letter or a post-it note, put it in a Ziploc bag, just a food bag, with the medication clearly, with the child's name clearly on it and very clear instructions. Your child should then bring it into school on the day of the trip, hand it to their form tutor, and then we're able to ensure it's given out. But we need those instructions from you, including dosage, time that it should be given, and all that kind of, whether they need food with it or anything like that. And most importantly, if your child requires an inhaler or an EpiPen, for old parents or people that have been at Belmont for a few years, you'll be used to this, but for new parents, super important that we need to take 2 with us on the trip, so 2 inhalers or 2 EpiPens. So we'll take the one that we've got at school, but you will need to provide an extra one from home, and just provide that second one on the day of the trip. Obviously, if you've just joined Belmont, we might not have your EpiPen or inhaler yet, so you will need to make sure that we've got one at school and that we've got a second one from home, and that's really important. I would hate for something like that to mean that they can't come on the trip, but we've got quite a hard line on that, so please make sure they've got it. Please do not bring any jewelry, any electrical equipment, so no mobile phones, no personal music players, no straighteners, hair dryers, nothing like that. Mainly because it's not a camping trip. I would call it a glamping trip. There is electricity in the pods, there is heating and warmth, and there are beds, but it's not designed to be having huge numbers of electrical items in each of the cabins or the pods. So please just don't bring them. And phones for new parents, we've got, again, a really hard line on phones. If we find that any child's brought their phone with them on the trip, we would ask you to come and pick them up from Essex Outdoors. And we have been known to do it in the past, very sadly. So please, it's not worth the risk. If they need their phone for any reason, say, I don't know, for any reason at all, what we would suggest, we will leave it behind at school in a locked office, but there's no point in bringing it on the trip. And I would recommend not utilizing that option and just leaving it at home. They don't need any money. There's nowhere to spend any money, so please don't bring any, and don't bring anything they don't want to get muddy, lost, or broken. Miss Hockley, I will hand back over to you.
Thank you, Miss Alderton. Just on the phones, some of the children have raised that they're going to come in on the school bus and then go back home on the school bus on Wednesday. So that's a good example of when they might need their phone. So if they do bring it in, they can just hand it into their form tutor in the morning as normal. We'll keep it, as Miss said, locked away, and then they can collect it again on Wednesday. So just some key things that I guess essentially you need to know is that Tuesday the 13th will be a normal school drop-off. They can bring their bag into school and they will drop them off in the Proctor Hall. All the children will be told this, so they'll know where to go. Where possible, if they can have a bag that doesn't need to be dragged across the grass. I know fitting a sleeping bag and a pillow and all their clothes in a bag can be quite challenging, but where possible, try and keep the bags as small as possible, because they essentially do have to carry them from the coach. And Miss Alderton has said it's a small walk down to the cabins or the pods. And then we'll be back on Wednesday for games. So the children will have games on Wednesday afternoon, but it then will be a normal school pickup. So drop off on Tuesday at normal time, pick up on Wednesday at normal time. Miss Alderton has covered about the medical, but just really important, 2 auto injectors and 2 inhalers, and any other medication to be labelled up. The kids, the second most common question I had today after should we bring toiletries, to which I asked them, do you use toiletries when you have a shower, was can we bring sweets? Normally our sort of line is no sweets, but obviously we're not silly enough to know that on residentials they don't sneak them into their suitcase. So if you could just pack maybe 1 small packet of sweets that they can have, they have been told that they can do that. Obviously, though, it categorically needs to not be chocolate or specifically with nuts. I would recommend not chocolate because that will probably melt and get squashed in their bags, but absolutely no nuts. Somebody has just put the question up as well, but they do have games on Wednesday. So I suggested to some of the children today that they have games on a Monday morning. If it doesn't rain and their kit remains clean and dry, they can leave it in their locker ready for Wednesday afternoon. Some children pointed out that they might be using their kit bag as their travel bag, in which case they can obviously take it home on Monday, but when they pack, they then need to pack for their games lesson on the Wednesday, so mouth guards and shin pads. So if you did have a second bag they could use, it is probably easier that they leave their kit bag from games on Monday. But knowing the weather forecast, that will probably spoil that plan anyway, because that kit will no doubt have to come home and be washed and dried. But that's what I've suggested to the children. If on the first day they can travel in their Belmont tracksuit, and again, hopefully, and then on Wednesday for games, if they don't have a second set of kit, I'm not so fussed as to what they're wearing, as long as they've got something on that they can do hockey and rugby in. So if that's an alternative set of sports clothes, that's fine for the Wednesday afternoon. I think that is probably about all the information you need. As I said at the beginning, it is about working together. It's about teamwork. It is about not necessarily working with the people you're comfortable with. So I would really ask your support in encouraging the children to embrace that challenge. And of course, we know for some children that will be really challenging. It will be really uncomfortable, but we are there to support them, try and integrate all the new children that have joined Belmont this year. So yeah, that's the aim, and obviously your support and encouraging the children with that will be really welcome. I did just see one more question. Yeah, so if they travel in their Belmont tracksuit, if they want to put a different games top on underneath for the day, that's fine, as long as they've got like their trousers and their top. I think for the activities they need long sleeves and long bottoms anyway, which would be handy. They don't need blazers or any other uniform, so they don't need to come home in their blazer on that Wednesday afternoon, so they can leave their school uniform at home for those 2 days. Miss Alderton and I are happy to stay on for a few minutes, so those that don't have any questions feel free to leave. We will be seeing you all in a couple of weeks, hopefully on Monday the 19th for the Welcome to Upper School evening, but we're really looking forward to a successful trip next week. So as I said, Miss Alderton and I will stay on. Those of you that would like to carry on with your evening, have a lovely evening, and those that would like to stay to ask a question or two, feel free to stay on. Yeah, we will be sending the recording of this along, and we thought it'd be helpful again to attach the letter with the kit list, so that you've got a copy of both. If anyone has stayed on for a question, feel free to unmute and ask.
Hi, sorry, I was in the middle of cooking dinner at the same time. Did you say that the kids come in their home clothes ready for the trip? Not school.
If they wear their Belmont tracksuit ready for the trip, but they could put a different t-shirt on underneath if they want to save their games top for games on Wednesday. But equally on Wednesday for games, I'm happy for them to wear anything they can participate in hockey in, as long as they've got shin pads and mouth guard.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Sorry, somebody else asked about any evening entertainment. Is there? I'm interested. Just wondering. Yes?
I'll pass that on to Miss Alderton.
Yes.
She's nodding.
Yes, there are evening entertainment. There will be the option, either they can go and play football or go and play some sports somewhere. There'll be a movie that we'll put on. There will be various activities kind of themed towards team building, but also we'll have that relaxing movie on if they'd like to. Which
Lovely,
will
thank you
be
very much.
the only option if it rains.
We live quite close. Could I bring in all this kit and everything for the Wednesday morning and drop it somewhere so he doesn't have to take it?
Yeah, if you just drop it into the office,
Okay.
I think that would be fine as well.
Thanks.
Yeah, just to save packing it, I guess. They're going to have quite a lot of stuff.
Thank you.
Which members of staff are going to be going along on the trip?
So there is myself, Mrs. Smith, all the Year 7 tutor team, Mr. Fannon, Miss Southall. So we've got a selection of all the tutors that know or beginning to get to know all the children really well. And we've got some of the senior team coming. I'm going as head of year, Miss Anderson as deputy head of year. So the ratio is 1 to 10. So we've got 15 staff going because we've got exactly 150 children going.
Thanks.
Excuse me, which centre in Essex are you going to go to? Because there's several on this website, Essex Outdoors.
Danbury, it's called Danbury Outdoors.
Danbury, okay, thank you. And how far is it, more or less?
It's about an hour and 15 minutes.
Okay.
So we won't stop on the way, we'll just go straight there.
Sorry, if they don't have a Belmont tracksuit, can they come in their own clothes? Is it only, it is, yeah? Right. Okay.
No problem. We don't particularly mind. Ideally, we'd like them to wear their Belmont have their tracksuit available for games, but on trips, they're allowed to wear what they like within reason. Obviously, no crop tops, no hot pants or anything.
Thank you.
Do they need to bring another set of clothes for the evening entertainment?
Yeah, I would recommend.
I would, just in case it rains in the day. So I sort of said to the children, I'd have your clothes you travel in, and then that you can wear them for the activities, and then a change of clothes for the evening if they get wet, and then obviously maybe a set or even two sets for the next day in case they get really wet before they travel home. But I appreciate trying to pack everything is quite challenging, as we're only going for 2 days.
So can I just clarify that they need to be in school for 8 o'clock?
Yeah, so normal school time, so 8:10 we start school, but yeah, normal school drop off.
Thank you.
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
Hiya. So they're going to travel in their school tracksuits and stuff. Do they then get changed when they get there into their other stuff that can get muddy?
If you would rather them not wear their tracksuit, I mean, in theory, they shouldn't get too muddy. The activities are based around sort of a high ropes course, so some zip line, rock climbing. So it's just more about them not wearing their branded clothes that if they lose, or, you know, when they're in a room of 10, pick up somebody else's.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's more, they shouldn't get too muddy, but if you would rather the tracksuit was saved, please feel free to send in something else.
Okay, thanks.
Sorry, one more question. So what is the accommodation like? Is it going to be log cabins, camping pods, or tents?
It's a combination of cabins and pods. So obviously your individual child would have either a cabin or a pod. They're both pretty similar. They've got bunk beds in. I mean, they're not 5-star or anything, but they're fine. They're warm, they're dry, they're safe and secure. They've got lock and things.
And have the children been told who they're going to be in the cabin with?
No, so they get told when they get there. But essentially we've decided this year that they're going to be based around their 4 groups to give them some time to sort of gel and bond as a form. And then the activity groups in the day are completely muddled up outside of the form. The reason behind that was we felt it was really quite a big ask because obviously we have to submit the paperwork a week in advance for it to all be checked and cleared through our system, to ask new children to be writing down who they'd like to share with. They haven't quite cemented those friendships and those dynamics yet. But obviously if the rooms are quite big, so you know, we're pretty confident they'll have at least somebody they'll feel really comfortable with in their room.
Hi. According to the forecast, you suggest to bring waterproofs?
I would suggest to bring waterproofs. Yeah, the forecast is looking like rain at the moment.
Thank you.
Hi, do the kids need to bring their bottles of water?
Yes.
Yeah, water bottle, and then they'll have plenty of opportunity to fill it up.
Thank you.
Hi, sorry, I joined a bit late, so I've missed some of this. Is it so they can still get the school bus in and be in on time if they take the school bus? Okay, thank you. And you're going to share the slides, aren't you? Because I missed a bit of it. Thank you.
Yeah, and a whole record. We'll just share a recording of the whole meeting.
Any other questions? Last minute questions?
Can I just check with the cabins and the pods? Did you say that they're being split separately, boys and girls? So boys are in the pods and the girls are in cabins. Is that right?
Yeah.
There's one group of, I think that there's one that we have to mix. They'll be in separate cabins or pods, but there are, for example, 90 cabins and 70 pods, so it doesn't quite work there. We'll choose one group of sensible children that we will brief that they are only allowed to go in that section, and they will have a teacher with them to check that that's okay. But just so that we make numbers wise, there will be one section of the other gender near the other children, but they're all really secure, and there's lots of teachers around.
Can I just ask, I've got a child who's very nervous of heights, doesn't tend to do things like height. Presumably if he really does, I appreciate you'll try and encourage him, but if he really doesn't, you won't make him. Yeah.
No, and the instructors there are great. We had a few children like that last year. You're right. We would try to encourage them to have a go, but if they really don't want to, they don't have to. I mean, I did the leap of faith last year, and my knees were trembling with fear. It was horrible. But yeah, we'd let them have a go. And also, equally, if he really doesn't want to do the high rope course, we could move him on to another activity if we had to.
Great, thank you.
Brilliant. Well, if anyone does have any other questions, feel free to email myself or Miss Alderson, and we will certainly get back to you. But otherwise, have a lovely evening, and we will see you on the 19th of September, hopefully.